Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. It is FlossTube number 1. No, it's not, it's number 41. Only missed out 40 FlossTubes. And it is the 8th of August today. How is everyone doing? You might be able to tell I'm in the Cotswolds in Bourton-on-the-Water. We've come home for a few days. I still call it home. We've come home for a few days because we had a few things that we wanted to do. I'll tell you more about those in a minute. I'm filming on Saturday morning actually because I'm off out later on, out. And so the light looks a bit different. You might hear some noises in the background. Ness is busy doing an archaeological excavation. She's got one of those things that are sort of set in plaster and you have an incredibly small tool to try and dig away at it to try and get out whatever's inside. So I think she's busy excavating dinosaur teeth at the moment with her granny. So yeah, you might be able to hear her doing that. But I've had a lovely week. We've been doing so many lovely things. On Wednesday we went to Gifford Circus, which is a really famous circus in the UK, certainly in the kind of Cotswolds area because that's where Nell Gifford came from, and she set up her own circus, and it was just amazing. It was called this year it was called the Hoolie, and it was basically all based around sort of like an Irish ceilidh with pixies and goblins and elves and fairies and all sorts of things. It was absolutely magical, and there were tumblers and there were horseback riders, acrobats, obviously there was a clown, Mr. Tweedy, who was dressed actually as a leprechaun this time, but yeah, it was amazing. Really amazing. If I can put a couple of photos in here, I will do. I did take some video, which we're allowed to do, but I'm not sure I can put any of it on because of the music. I'll have a look and see if I can put a little video in as well, because it was amazing. So I'll try and put something in here. In Leamington Spa called the Enchanted Cafe, and it's basically a cafe for children, although I'm sure there's plenty of adults that would enjoy it as well. And they do an afternoon tea with scones and cream and jam and cakes and all sorts of stuff, and all the kids go basically dressed up as princesses, and then they have live action. They have people dressed up as yesterday there was Belle and Rapunzel, and they come and interact with the children and do songs and dances and things like that with them. So Ness had an absolute whale of a time. She was dressed as Belle with her tiara, and of course she was going around acting like she was the queen all day, so she had a fabulous time. And then we had a little look around Leamington Spa, got back to the car. I had the keys for the car. I opened the car, put the keys and my bag and stuff in the boot, and then picked something up out of the boot to carry it around to put it into the passenger side door, and at that very moment my mum shut the door. So the keys were in the boot. So mum's car's got this funny thing whereby if you unlock it and open the boot, you've basically got 30 seconds to open the driver's door, otherwise it double locks itself. And we weren't within that 30 seconds. So the keys were locked in the car. We were stuck in a car in a car park in Leamington Spa at about 6 o'clock at night. So luckily mum's got the AA on her bank account, so we phoned them, they came. They couldn't get into the car because it was double locked, and so very lovely AA man, he took mum and Ness about halfway home. A friend of ours had gone and got the spare key from mum's house and drove it halfway, so they met halfway, and then my friend took Ness back to her house, gave her some dinner because by that point she was starving, and she's got 2 boys, and she played with the 2 boys until we'd got back to the car, sorted it all out. Oh, it was fine, but yeah, just what you didn't need at the end of a long day. And one of the whips I'm going to show you is still a whip for the want of about 30 stitches that I was going to do last night, but by the time I got back I was so tired I didn't get a chance to work on it. Anyway, enough of the waffle. These floss cards, these have gone a little bit crazy. I'm so pleased that everyone's sort of jumped on the idea and fancies doing a bit of a trade with them. Now, I probably didn't give you very much information about them last week because I didn't realise that they were going to be quite as popular as they are. So what I thought I'd do is I'll just tell you a little bit about them. So first of all, I got mine from Vistaprint. This was the second company I tried. You may remember that the first company lost my package twice. So I'm very happy with Vistaprint. They delivered it first time, on time. So that's why I'm happily telling you that I got them from Vistaprint. I literally chose the standard option for the business cards because obviously when I first ordered them, I wasn't entirely sure that it was going to work, that my idea was going to work. So I picked the standard option. The only thing that's slightly different about these compared to a normal business card is that they are in the vertical profile rather than horizontal. But that's just an option that you click on the design website. You just choose vertical. So they're the standard cardstock. They are, I believe they're 85mm by 55mm, but I think in America you get slightly different measurements. You might get them in inches, but they're just basically the standard ones. And then all I did was let's not show you that one, let's show this one. Changed what was on one side of the card to make it really, really plain and just say the DMC and the number. Although I've seen people who've changed this side to say whatever they want it to, which is fab. And then on the back, I chose an image. So just be careful with the image that you're choosing. Dog's barking. Good. That's my mum's dog, Buddy. He's a bit of a barker, so she bought him one of those anti-bark collars that spray a little bit of citronella. But he's now learned that if he wants to have a good bark, he just puts his head to the side and has a good bark and misses the citronella. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, be careful with your images. Just make sure that you're aware of the copyright of any image that you want to use. And then, in terms of swapping them, so I suggested maybe 25 as a swap number, unless you want to discuss with whoever you're swapping them whether you want to do more or less or whatever. And I sort of suggested including just one plain card that's just got your details on it, so that if you're swapping with quite a few people, you can keep like a nice little set of these so you know where they've come from, where in the world they've come from. I use a 1.9cm punch, just a circular punch that I got from Amazon, and I just use a single, oops, some fell out, a single hole punch to make the top. So that's how I get my 2 holes. So swapping cards, I've started up the hashtag, let me get this right, the Great Floss Drop Trade. Yep, the Great Floss Drop Trade. So if you've made some cards and you want to swap some, if you use that hashtag, then other people can find you. Obviously some people might only want to swap within their country due to postage costs and things like that. That's absolutely fine, no problem with that at all. If you are looking to swap internationally, you might be in a position where you could send a batch of cards already addressed up to one person and they might be able to do the postage within their country for you. If you're going to do that, just make sure that the people that are included within that batch know that you're sending them to a third person, just out of courtesy, because obviously that third person is going to see their address when they put the local postal rate stamp on it. So just make sure that people are happy that there will be a third person that's going to see that address. I think it's only fair. But yeah, let the Great Floss Drop Trade begin. I think it's going to be fabulous. I've seen so many lovely ones already, and I can't wait, because it usually takes about 10 days, I suppose, for Vistaprint to print. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be lots more floating around. And if anybody's going to Patchwork Rabbit, I will bring some of mine with me. and I'll have some to trade if you want to trade some. I think I'm going to have to order another box. Right, okay, stitching. Let's get on to stitching. So I've waffled along for sort of 10 minutes now and I've not actually showed you any stitching yet. So I've been working on 3 projects. The first one I did some work on was the Halloween Ouija board from Tiny Modernist that I started when it was a sale this time last year. And I haven't done a lot, but I did put in the usual Michelle story, the needle's still half hanging out of it. I haven't got a board today, unfortunately. And I was actually going to iron stuff today because my mum's ironing board is always out, but then with the car last night, I just haven't done it. There's always an excuse, isn't there? So there's my Ouija board. So I've just put in the butterfly at the top, and I started to fill in the castle on this side. And I do really want to try and finish this before I start the cryptid cell. And I'm using my little floss holder from Deborah Darling, and I'm using the little folk hand, and I'll link her Etsy shop below. So the colours are just black, white, and then the grey that I'm using is a Weeks Dye Works, and I think it's blackboard. But if it's any different, I'll put it down below. But I think it's blackboard. And the fabric is X2 Designs 32 count Elixir, which I bought 2 or 3 years ago now as a pack. There was, well, it wasn't a pack, I just wanted all 3 of them. There was a green, there was a yellow, and there was a purple in this sort of similar finish. And I can't remember what the other 2 colours were called. And then I've done a bit more Halloween stitching. I think I was so ready to just jump into Halloween and fall. Yeah, I can't wait. I love it. So I started for my monthly Orny sale. I started this one by Satsuma Street called Eye of Newt. And I'm gonna have to hold this up on a little piece of paper. And I'm there with that. The stitching on this one went really quite, sorry, it needs to stay really close, otherwise it, there we go. The stitching on this one went really quite quickly. I was surprised quite how quickly this one formed up, because I've done the one with the pumpkin cat and that seemed to take ages. So I just need to finish the green on this side, the black and grey in the middle, and then put the top on there. And then the other things that go on there are, there's 2 or 3 sequins and a couple of beads. So I can't wait to finish that one. And now this is the one that would have been finished. I would have got this one finished. This is called Bee, and it's by Pyro Dog Pins on Etsy, designed by Emily Morris. And I actually looked this up the other day to see when I started it. And I started it in 2019, and it seems to have taken me ages, probably because I keep putting it up and putting it back down again. But the wings were really, really confetti heavy. So there it is. Stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha. Better over that side. There we go. And it looks pretty much finished, but literally, as I said, there's about 30 stitches left to finish. So this one leg here needs to come out a little bit. There's 1 yellow stitch missed in here somewhere, and then there's about 2 or 3 stitches at the bottom there. So it really isn't that much to do. I know how I'm going to finish it as well. I'm going to finish it as a basically like a stitcher's pocket. So I'm going to have that on one side, either stitch something else on that side, or I think I've got the idea of maybe putting a little fabric pocket on the outside of it, and then do some fancy stuff on the inside. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Like I say, Buddy's obviously excited about something. Probably somebody walked past down the street about a mile away. He's got such good hearing, that dog. Okay, so that is where I am. That is where I am. Right, I am going to do a freebie now. And this freebie actually is from Modern Folk Embroidery, because some of my haul is from Modern Folk Embroidery. And I've chosen this one, Let's Be Kind. I just think it's so lovely. You could do it in any colour you want, although it looks fabulous in the red, but you could do it in any colour you want to. So marvellous. I will put the link for that down below, and I will show you my other Modern Folk Embroidery patterns in the haul section in a minute. Right, now the giveaway. Today is the day where I'm going to announce the winner of the giveaway. And the winner is... So, the giveaway. Sorry, I really interrupted myself there because I suddenly realised that I hadn't written down the name of the person. I had it as a picture on my phone from the YouTube comment picker, but I hadn't actually written it down. And I just wanted to check that I'd remembered it absolutely correctly. So, the winner of the signed Fella needlework book is Margaret Yoder. So congratulations, Margaret. I'm really, really pleased that Margaret's won the book. She's a frequent commenter to both myself and to lots of other stitchers on both Instagram and YouTube. So I don't think it could be going to a better home. So Margaret, if you can get in touch with me, and I will sort out the postage for your book. I'm sorry this video is so stop-starty today. It's really, yeah, filmed in little bits and pieces, but we'll get there, we'll get there. I was contacted by a website wanting to do some work with me, and I will say the name of the website at the end of this, but I want to just put this bit of information in to begin with. They asked me if I wanted to help them promote their website. So I looked at their website, and they sell diamond painting, stamped cross stitch and cross stitch, counted cross stitch. And very quickly I was able to determine that most of the work on that website was pirated. And so by the time I'd caused them a little bit of trouble, sent a few emails to the original designers and told them that there was zero chance that they were going to be working with me, she stopped emailing me or stopped contacting me on Instagram. And I wondered to myself how I had come to that conclusion, that most of the work was pirated. And I spend a lot of time looking on Etsy, looking at various different cross-stitch designers, and so I've got a good feel for things I've seen before, design elements that I know belong to certain designers, and so it was quite easy for me to pick up pretty quickly that this was not a website that was to be trusted. However, I thought if you were new to cross-stitch that it might be helpful to have some pointers of things that you might want to look out for, which might help you to come to a similar conclusion if you're not as familiar with the breadth of different designers' work. And I came up with 4 points of things to look out for on various different websites or even Etsy shops that might allow you to come to the conclusion that they are not selling genuine artwork, genuine cross-stitch product that is their own, or that they have a license to use. And the first one I came up with was cheap. If it's really, really cheap, the chances are it's probably not their own work. If you're able to buy a full coverage, large piece of work as a chart for £3 to £4 or £2 to £3, chances are it's nothing great. They've probably taken someone's image, put it through a simple cross-stitch piece of software, and that's it, that's all you're getting. And so the chart itself might be £2 to £3, but by the time you've spent £50, £60 for a max coverage, something like that, kitting it up, you're not going to get the product that you want. You're not going to get the image that you want when you've spent hours and hours stitching it. So that's one thing that I would watch out for. None of these things are going to be foolproof on their own, but if you put 2 or 3 of them together, it might give you a hint that perhaps it's an Etsy shop or a website to be avoided. If everything's computer generated, if there are no pictures of actual stitched pieces, I would be dubious. Again, this one's not foolproof because lots of designers design digitally and they can design far quicker than they can get people to model stitch for them. So if there was absolutely no stitched pieces, I would be very dubious. So yeah, just that's one to watch out for. If the designs are blurry, if the design picture is blurry. So if it's something they've designed for themselves or they've got permission to use the artwork of, then they're going to have an original image. There's no way that original image should be blurry. So if it's blurry on the website, that's because they've pinched it from somewhere else and lost the quality. So if it's got a blurry image, I wouldn't touch it. And the last thing is if there's hundreds of patterns or even tens of patterns that are all different styles with no credit to different designers. You know when you look at a design that it comes from a similar designer. I'm trying very hard not to mention anybody's names because I don't want to bring any valid designers' names into this discussion because I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. But you can spot after a while, oh, that's a design from that designer. That's in a similar stable to that designer. And you get to know. So if there's a website that's offering hundreds of designs that are all different, that all have different aesthetics, and there's no credit to individual designers, chances are I think that they've probably pirated those images as well. So as I said, none of those 4 points can be used standalone, but if you've got 2 or 3 of those points together, I would be very dubious about purchasing from that Etsy shop or that website. You can always do a reverse image search as well on Google to try and see if you can find the original owner of the artwork, and check out, ask the question, are they licensed to use that image? And you probably won't get much of a response. So as I said, this website, I will name them because I want you to avoid them. They're called diamondartdecor.com, clearly pirated. I messaged them back and said there's no way I was going to work with them. They had lots of pirated images, lots of stolen images on their website, and the girl came back to me and said, oh, tell me which ones and I'll remove them. I was like, you'd have to delete 90% of your website. It was terrible. It was really, really terrible. So please, let's support our designers and not support people who take other people's artwork. It's disgusting. Right, I have got some Happy Mail and some haul. So, Happy Mail. A lovely lady called Lynn Mosley, had sent me a pile of charts which she was destashing, and she said, would I like to have them to do various different giveaways? So these charts you'll see as giveaways in the coming weeks and months. So I'm just going to show you what she sent. So, Crow Basket by Teresa Coker. I'm going to have to whip through these because there's so many beautiful ones. Halloween Squirrel by the Blue Flower. Nightshade Bird by Plum Street. Spell of the Moon by Blackbird. This is the original little one. It's obviously now in the Winds of Autumn book, but that's the original one. Plum Street, Friends of the Heart. I can't read backwards. This one by Kathy Barrick. I will be stitching this one first and then passing the chart on. The Dainty House Wren. Dainty House Wren. The Farmer's Wife. I really love the dark version of this one. I'm going to stitch this one before I pass it on. Beautiful. Matter's Choice by Carriage House. I love this one. I've got this one in my stash. Cornwall Cottage Sampler. God, they're barking outside now. Quaker Diamonds by Rosewood Manor. Strawberry Bird by Kathy Barrick. Dear Santa by Kathy Barrick. Moonlight Visitor by Blackbird Designs. And Quaker Halloween Sampler. So thank you so much for passing those on, Lynn. I will be delighted to do giveaways with those in the future. As I said, a few of the Kathy Barrick ones I think I shall stitch first and then pass on. Haul. I've got a little bit of haul to show you. I'm going to start off with my little stitching tin. So I've told you before that I absolutely love Gloucester services. It's the Rolls Royce of service stations. Junction 12 on the M5. And so I bought this little tiny tin. Now I have a pair of Kelmscott scissors, which is in this exact shade of blue. So I should be making myself a little tiny stitching tin with all the things that I might need on there. And it's just got a little tiny handle. It doesn't take much to please me. From Wool Warehouse, I picked up just some packs of Zweigart, so just a plain white Edinburgh that I will probably dye. A 32 count plain white that I will dye as well. And then these two. They never put the actual name on the front. But this is, I'll show you what's on the back there. I should have looked at my order and written down what was on it. And then that one as well. There, that's a better colour. What I might do is I'll look back on my order and see what the names of those two colours actually were, and I'll put them on the bottom. And then Modern Folk Embroidery. Now, Jacob has started a new section on his website called Dark Crosses. And I could have bought all of them. I really could. I had to be so restrained, which is not something I'm used to. So I bought Mr. Bones in the Garden, which I love. I bought the Cranky Owl, again, which is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I actually went to find the Cranky Owl, and then I found all these other ones. And then, this is my absolute favourite. I love this, Spirits of the Dead. And it says, be silent in that solitude, which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again in death around thee, and their will shall overshadow thee. Be still. Edgar Allan Poe quote. But that top section, oh my God, it is so beautiful, so beautiful. And I might go back and get the others. I might just go back and get all of the Dark Crosses. So there's that. And then my last little bit of haul is a book, actually, and it's not a stitching book, but I thought you might be interested. It's this book. It's called The Secret Lives of Colour by Cassia St. Clair. And what it is it's a book that tells you the stories behind the different colours. Now, most of these are to do with pigments, paint pigments, but it's not always related to paint pigments. It tells you how the colours basically came about. So at the beginning of each chapter, and as you can see, it's organised by colour. At the beginning of each chapter, it tells you a little bit about the kind of overall colour. So for example, yellow. And then it tells you about the story behind the pigments. So lead tin yellow, Indian yellow, acid yellow, Naples yellow, chrome yellow, all the different ones. It's so interesting. There's a big chunk to begin with all about colour and how we see colour. But as I teach that, I kind of skip that bit. I will go back and read it, but I wanted to get onto the kind of stories behind the colours. And it's super interesting. For example, the yellow, it tells you this bit about the idea that, or not the idea, the actuality that Oscar Wilde was actually arrested for, what was he arrested for? Indecency, gross indecency, because he was carrying a yellow book. And back in the day, yellow books, ones that were sort of a bit more scandalous, were covered in yellow. And he was found to be carrying a yellow book in public. Oh, wow. My goodness, what a thing to do. But he was actually, as I said, convicted of gross indecency. So, yeah, I really recommend this book. It's so interesting. So if you've ever wondered where any of the colours that we use in stitching, the stories behind those colours, and you will see as you go through, lots of the colours that you're familiar with using have got stories in this book. So I can really recommend it. And that's it from me. I am now going to go and try and edit this together, try and make it into one seamless video, which is going to be really, really difficult. Back to normal next week, hopefully, with a pinch and a prayer, and I will see you soon. Stay classy, Stitchers.